world's most obvious secret proposal, couples at war, families with no trust, and lives hanging in the balance in this week's special edition of Coastal News Podcast. Hello, this is the Coastal News, an unofficial home and away podcast where we dissect the latest week's episodes and discuss the happening and residents of our favourite fictional town, Summer Bay. So, Ziggy finally told Tane about the pash with Dean last week, and he took it, as expected, really. I mean, he knew, didn't he? I think he found out in the worst way by Neek blurting out, exactly as I said would happen on last week's podcast. He's going to find out in the worst way possible. And actually, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Tane, if I'm being honest. He's become such a great character. He's really grown from that bad boy womanizer image. And Ziggy is a main part of that. So I'm quite gutted that this has all happened, really. And I know the whole underlying undercurrent of this story is that Ziggy and Dean are meant to be together and they've got to find their way back to each other, but it would be a lot easier for me to buy into that if Tane wasn't such a nice bloke, So this has been a tough one, and Tane's sort of shut down, hasn't he? He sort of says to Ziggy, I need some time with this. And sort of shuts down, and that it sort of riles Ziggy up a bit, doesn't it? She says to him a few times, we can't keep doing this, just talk to me. I think she even said on one of the episodes, I'm fed up with this passive aggressive stuff, just yell at me if you want to yell at me. But again, I think that's testament to Tane's character and what he's become. He's not knee-jerked any of his reactions. He's taken time to think about what he really wants, and I think deep down now, if he knows it, I think he knows there's still something between Dean and Ziggy, and I think he's probably kidding himself because he loves Ziggy. He's probably kidding himself that they've got a future after this point, I think. And we see eventually he sort of asks her that question, do you have feelings for Dean? And she says no, there's nothing there, but I think she's also kidding herself. So it's not going to end well. We're going to see this all come out in the wash, as it always does, and it's not going to be great for Tane, and I'm gutted, really. Makes an interesting story, but still gutted nonetheless, And then there was this weird, we've got lots of weird camera stuff going on at the old sea pool, or whatever it's called. But this sort of weird interaction between Cash and Jasmine bumping into each other, this flirtatious fun thing, which actually I'm really quite liking. I've said a couple of times, I really like Cash. I think he's one of the best characters, I've warmed to him really quick. One of the best new characters we've had in recent times. So I'm really liking him, and I think actually him with Jasmine could work quite well. Better than her and Kieran, which, oh God, that was a near miss. But yeah, I think that was quite, and when he asked her out on a date and she sort of flipped out a bit, you can understand that. I think Jasmine is a sensitive creature, isn't she? And, the thought of moving on with Robbo and the job that Cash does, I think was a little bit sensitive, her response, if I'm being honest. Robbo was an undercover secret agent or whatever he was. He wasn't, local town cop, and, I think he'd be more comparable to Colby. I know she wasn't married to Colby, but, there was a bit of a thing way back when, wasn't there? So I think she jumped to some unnecessary early conclusions about him, and the dangers of the job, and but at the same time you can sort of understand, can't you, her apprehension. And Irene, that I loved that scene there where Irene sort of went to the gym and had a bit of a talk to her and said, look, the guy's easy on the eye, just have a drink with the bloke and see how it goes. But there was this weird putting his foot in it because he'd been asking about her, and I think Jasmine's better than that, and I think she'll come round. I think she'll just realise there's nobody in the town really doesn't know the whole Robbo thing, so why she's fussed about somebody telling him, I'm not too sure, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I found that quite odd. But obviously it's going to be a slow burner. Are we shipping Jash yet? Are we calling him Jash? I don't know. But yeah, I think they're gonna make a cute couple. I hope it's. I mean, it's never going to be plain sailing in the bay, is it? But I hope they make a good crack of it. I think that could work quite well. One couple I don't think are working quite well, and as regular listeners know, they're not really my favourites at all. Is Tori and Kirsten. Um, this cheesy proposal that we're leading up to, and Justin and Leah writing songs to go. Nope, I'm not. I don't want it. Don't want it. Don't care for it. I think Tori's making a huge mistake. She said she was going to be careful after what happened last time and not let she's got Grace to think about, not let him in so fast, and she's really got to think about what she really wants in the future. And then a couple of weeks later, it's looking like she's probably going to accept his proposal again. I don't think it's the right thing for her. I'm past Christy, and I'm past even caring about anything about this anymore. And maybe that's my problem as a viewer and as a fan. I can't move past that. Maybe it is my problem. Maybe Tori's right. I don't know. What do you think? But I don't like them now. I think Tori deserves a lot better, and it's looking like I'm going to have to endure their wedding. Endure. But I know that they are popular amongst you guys, so maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. I just can't get into it. I just can't get into it. And Kieran can't catch a break, can he? Or Rue, for that matter, with Alf. Alf's got absolutely no trust. There's this weird... everything's weird for me this week, by the sounds of it. Sorry about this, guys. But Rue tries to set this family lunch up with Alf and Martha and Kieran, and Alf's really not happy. He's furiously scrubbing the barbecue. And Rue tries to have it out with him, and he just says to her, I am spending every day waiting for him to pick up a bottle, and the whole thing to start again. So Alf's not there with Kieran yet. In fact, I don't think he could be further from getting there with him, if I'm being honest, by the looks of things. I at the moment, I'm struggling to see where their relationship goes, and how Kieran can stay long term in the family unit. And Alf's just waiting for that moment for him to slip up and hurt Martha again, and Rue. And I think a complete lack of trust from him and Kieran. I think Kieran probably has a better chance of recovery if he has the support around him, and Alf, he's screaming louder than the others at the moment. I think. I don't know. I don't know what to make. I don't know if Kieran's going to be able to do this, and turn this around in regards to his relationship with Alf. We're not really hearing much about what Martha thinks of it all at the moment. I'm interested to find that out. What is she feeling the same? Just waiting for the next moment when he flips because he's had a drink, or. I can imagine that might be what a lot of families go through with this kind of thing, It doesn't make it, it is sad, and it doesn't make it any better. I feel like as this goes on, I'm rooting for Kieran more and more. Actually, I think he can do this, and I think over time he's got to try and prove himself, hasn't he? Right? He's got to put wrong what he did last time, but also he's got to prove that he's not going to do it again. And how do you do that without a crystal ball? So he's in an impossible position, and I'm rooting for him. I just want him to be accepted and to be well. And I hope we get to see that. I really do. Something else I'm struggling to keep with is Bella and Nick. It looked like Bella turned a corner, didn't it? I actually thought she demonstrated how grown up she can be when she agreed to speak with Nick this week. Obviously, only after having that another run in with Chloe and a good old heart to heart with Ryder. Um, and Irene, she's been very wise this week as Irene. Um, agrees to speak to him, and they make a toasty together, and he does stupid thing and kisses her. You just think, why would you even do that? 10 minutes after her only just speaking to you, it was only literally 4 days ago that you were trashing up her exhibition, like what on earth was going through Nick's mind? I don't think he is thinking clearly, is he? I suppose that's the point. And Bella then just reverts and reacts like Bella does and screams and shouts and runs. And, this ultimately results in Nick having a big to-do with Ari and leaving the bay, packing his bag in record time. He must have had that getaway bag under his bed or something. Blimey, he went into his room, came out and went. Either that or he's just packed his PlayStation, You know what kids are like. So he's on the run on the road and, doing as teens do. And says he's leaving. And I think this is Nick sort of hitting a bit of a moment here now, isn't it? A bit of a turning point, as you all need to do. And of course, he contacts Mia, which I think was probably the best thing. Ari's a bit too hot-headed at the moment. He's not really listening. Tane can be as well. He's had his run-in with Tane throughout this. He probably sees Mia as the sort of middle ground that he can sort of gain a bit of trust from. And who he trusts as well. And I think if I was in Nick's position, I would probably contact Mia as well. She grabs a lift off Dean because Dean needs to be involved in everything, and head out to pick him up. And there is a bit of a disaster. Breaking news just into the Coastal News podcast. There has been a motor vehicle accident on a remote New South Wales road. Our sources inform us that information, injuries and fatalities is currently unknown. More on this developing story as we get it right here on Coastal News. Absolutely shocked at this. So, a kangaroo comes out into the road. Dean swerves it. The car is flipped. Oh my gosh. And Nick is sent flying. The car is just an absolute wreck, isn't it? And it's rolling and rolling and rolling down this bank and comes to a rest, which what looks like balancing on, a thread on the edge of this huge cliff. We've got everybody unconscious. We've got Mia in a passenger seat, unconscious. Dean looks in a bad way, and the car looks like the slightest wind, and they're going to be toast. They're going to be off the edge of this cliff, and they're going to be toast. Is Nick going to be surviving? He seems to have become dislodged from the vehicle early on in the embankment, so perhaps he's okay. I don't know. He looks like he took a bit of a fall. Honestly, this is just nuts. So, I don't... Are the writers going to do this to Mia and Ari? Is Mia going to lose the baby from this crash? Or even herself? Is Mia is Mia gone? I don't know. As you know, I'm struggling to warm to her and get on her side, but I wouldn't wish that. As they've been through such a tough time with their backstory's got all this tragedy in it regarding loss of babies. It's a bit cruel to do it to him again, isn't it? So I hope that's not happening. I mean, the pregnancy's just been a bit too happy, hasn't it? I think it's pretty much a given right now. So I'm pretty shocked at that, if I'm being honest. Super Dean, is Dean okay? I mean, all three of them here, it could go any which way. And, where's the kangaroo? No, I shouldn't laugh. It was a bit of a shock, and I think obviously next week is going to be absolutely insane. How we survived. Can they get help? Who's going to find out? I mean, Ari doesn't even know that Mia has gone there. Do they know that Dean's with him? Neek's location is unknown according to him and Tane. Like, there's so many questions. I just can't wait to get watching next week. Let me know what you think. What's going to happen here? It'd be interesting to see what other people make of this recent dramatic development. That takes us to the end of this dramatic week on Home and Away. The Coastal News podcast will be back with you next weekend, dissecting another week's episodes. In the meantime, we'll be on social media at Coastal News Pod, both on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for listening. I do enjoy making these and discussing our favourite show. I'll speak to you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.